Okay, so here's this electrical enclosure, this custom box. And this box was sized to match a CFX Dometic refrigerator freezer over here. And because of the design and intended use of this van, the clients are going to have mountain bikes in the back in the garage. They're going to have a bed sleeping front to back over top of that. And so we decided to use the chest freezer and fridge over here as a bench, and then have an electrical enclosure over here of a similar size to create sort of like a dinette area. And that worked out okay. I did have to switch from a Multi Plus 2, which was my original purchase, and go with the old case Multi Plus. And I've done that probably 3 times this year, where I wanted to use the new version and ended up going back to the old Multi Plus case size, because I can just fit this in a lot more areas, whether it's a retrofit or if it's a new enclosure build. And so inside of this enclosure, we have our 3 SFK batteries. They are these yellow top batteries. They are 315 amp hours of 12 volt power each. They're wired in parallel. They go to a bus bar with the same size positive and negative leads. It comes up here to a 400 amp main battery on and off switch. It goes through a modified Lynx power in. And from there, that DC power is distributed to our Multi Plus 3000, a 20 amp solar charge controller, a 50 amp Orion XS DC-DC charger. We also have our Velit 12 volt air conditioner breaker right here. And then the DC loads and the AC breaker panel go to this WIFCO box, which is mounted on the front, and we'll take a look at that. Now, the thing that I'm most excited about this power system is the SFK batteries. And these SFK batteries are new for me. And if you have installed or checked out Victron batteries and you felt the burn from the tariff price increase, perhaps you should consider these SFK batteries. These things have a controlling BMS, which means that you can integrate this into a full Victron system, and the BMS of the battery will control the DVCC of the Victron system and ask for or decide the appropriate charging from each of the chargers, because we have our alternator, we have our solar, and then we would have our shore power. Not only that, when you install multiple SFK batteries, whether it's in parallel or in series, and if you do decide to do it in series, the amount of support and active balancing that is inherent in the batteries is also amazing. But in this case, for the parallel battery system, they have designed a virtual battery protocol so that all of the information from the 3 batteries is combined into one virtual battery, which the Servo GX system utilizes as the battery monitor and the controlling BMS, meaning that it's thinking that it's being controlled by just one big battery, which theoretically it is, but in this case it's 3 batteries in parallel, totaling 945 amp hours of 12 volt power. Not only that, but these SFK batteries have an amazing Bluetooth app if you have a sort of like basic or non-intelligent system. So you can go into the app, you can set charge limits and discharge limits. You can change the internal heater to do a couple different things. If you want to have more control over your internal heating or just have it completely off, you can do that. Right on the battery, I'm not sure if you can see this button, but there's a button to see what temperature the battery is. And of course, you can go into your GX touchscreen and you can see all of this information on each battery and make changes if you want. There's an active balancing button, and there's different modes to balancing the cells inside of each battery. And I'm going to set mine for green. There's also a way to turn the Bluetooth on and off. So if you're not going to use the Bluetooth on your batteries, you don't have to worry about giving that system any power and turn that completely off, because most of the information that we need is visible on the GX touchscreen. Now today, I spent about half an hour on the phone with Austin from SFK, and he was a lot of help walking me through the commissioning of my first SFK battery system and helping me apply all the appropriate parameters and settings for this full Victron system. And when I did start it up, there were some things going on that just weren't right, and it was mostly in regards to the monitoring of current flow. And he knew exactly what was going on and asked me questions that, of course, I said, no, I didn't do that too. But now I know, and now I'm an expert, right? I am part of the SFK dealer network, but this is, a system that I had bought and designed for a client, and they're actually going to be picking up in just a few hours. So yeah, if you have any questions about the SFK batteries, please feel free to add them in the comments or message me directly. But I'm a big fan, and I'm definitely going to be using these over the Victron batteries in the future, because the tariff prices have just gone through the roof, and for a lot of my clients, it's a little cost prohibitive. And especially with something like this on the market, why pay more when you can get something of very similar value and amazing support and technology right here, designed and built in the USA. They're out of Louisiana. So let's take a look at the other things in this van build before our clients pick it up. Okay, a little bit more about this enclosure, right? This is 3/4 inch plywood. It comes pre-laminated. I edge band. This is just iron-on edge banding. I get this stuff locally from a place called Fessenden Hall in Lancaster, PA. We have a big angle iron down here to support the box, and it's just screwed into the stock subfloor, although I do have a big anchor point under the multi-plus that connects to one of the stock D-ring tie downs. The box itself is going to have a lid, which will be removable, and I'll just have it attached via these sort of camping clips, I call them. They're pretty standard in RV door and drawer latching. On the front, we have our Wifco box. This is another RV standard component. It's pretty cheap, but I like it because it's very easy to install. It gives you locations for all of your DC fuses, labeling, lots of room for 120-volt circuit breakers, and that's just stuff that you can get at Lowe's and Home Depot, so you don't have to worry about having this expensive Blue Sea stuff, which if you're out on the road and you're having some issue, you can just go to a big box store and replace it, although I've never had to replace one. 2 outlets on the front, a 120 and a 12 volt. On the back here, we have our AC Infinity fan. This is the 120 millimeter version, and it comes with a USB connection, which I cut and actually just wired into the servo. Now the servo does control this fan via this old multi-plus terminal temp sensor. And I have it set for 95, it kicks on, and then this will turn on and exhaust it down to 90 degrees. But the fan itself actually has a little controller. It's buried down in here for like high, medium, and low settings, and I believe I have it at high so that it exhausts as fast as possible. Also, this is like the hottest area of the box, right? The DC-DC charger and the multi-plus exhaust are right here. The solar charge controller might put off some heat, but the rest of the box really isn't going to make that much heat. So this is where it's going to get hottest, and this is where it's going to exhaust the fastest. The rest of the stuff in this van, we have 2 van window direct awning windows in the middle location. So there's a window kind of right above this bench. There's a window right above this bench. And then we have a max fan up front that I installed. So if you have a max fan like this, you need some way for fresh air to get into the van, and these windows are going to do just that. They're tinted. They only open a little bit. They're safe because, you can't really fit your body through there if somebody were to break the glass and try to get in. There's no other windows anywhere else in this van, not even in the slider. In addition to the power system, I was able to get them a little bit of a deal on this Dometic fridge freezer chest. I also did a pre-wire for some outlets. So we have a 120 and some USB, and then the power for the fridge, a DC connection, on just some temporary little panels. We have another little temporary panel up here for our GX touchscreen and our S-Bar diesel heater, which is installed right there under the seat and connects right to the gas tank. And that way they have this template. They can use it while they're building out their van. They also have all the openings templated on these little panels. So they just pop them off, trace them onto the wall panels that they're going to use, and then they can put their outlets wherever. And I always make sure to give extra length on my circuits so that they can put it there. They could put it here. They could, drill a hole here or something and bring it up here. Gives them some flexibility. What else? Our Vela AC unit is sort of in this middle location. This is a 12 volt air conditioner. We opted not to put it back here because if the bed platform is going to be this high and our mattress is going to be this high, there's going to be this air conditioner that's going to be blasting cold air on you and making some noise while you sleep. So we decided to move it away from the bed, and that gave us room to put a 200-watt solar panel up here on the roof, which maybe we can take a look at if I show you. Yeah. So there's two 200-watt Renogy panels, and I chose that size, or I chose that brand because of the size. And you know, I've never had a rigid solar panel fail on me in any case. So right, we have the Vela AC, we have the diesel heater, we have the refrigeration, we have the ventilation, we have the power system, we have the windows. And that's what I was able to do for these clients in their awesome all-wheel drive Sprinter 170. They're going to be picking it up in just a few hours, taking it home. Next steps, I believe, are probably going to be insulating, repaneling, and I think they're just using the stock Sprinter panels, which is totally cool because this is going to be like an adventure van and a use-it van, and those panels are, they're hard plastic, corrugated plastic. They're going to last. They may not be the prettiest, but they're going to be perfect for what they need them for. After wall panels, it's time to, go have some fun.